We are going to call this meeting to order at 6:33. If you'll rise, we have less than who's going to give us invitation this evening?
Ms. Fowler, let's prayer, please. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this privilege of coming before your throne of grace. We gather tonight to work together for what is best for our community. Help us to remember that mission as we discuss these issues and guide us with your wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, next is citizens' comments, and at this time we do not have anybody that is signed up to speak.
I just laid one of them. Okay.
She just informed her, just informed me that she's changed her mind. Okay, so we will move on to public hearings. We will conduct a public hearing for comments for or against City of Alstyne submitting an application to the Texas Department of Transportation 2012 statewide transportation enhancement program to fund the Alstyne bicycle pedestrian trail project.
Mayor and Council, this is Mayor and Council, this is a project that originally started out as a North Park project. We've taken it to the MPO board, and Kenita Larkins and I went to the MPO board, made the presentation. It didn't meet muster as far as what the MPO board was looking for as far as pushing it onto the state. The new head of the MPO board that had just started and had experience in Florida had decided the buzzword that he kept coming back with was connectivity to the community. Had a very short time frame as far as coming back to the community and trying to devise a new project that was going to fit the needs and meet some of the needs and demands that this community has. The idea that we came up with when we returned to the city was a hike and bike trail, which had been proposed as a Safe Routes to Cities program. We met with Dr. Spees a couple months before. The mayor and Kenita were present for, as far as providing safe routes to schools for children from the community that generally walk the bar ditch to the intermediate, middle school, and up to the high school. So using the CAD system that we have as part of our partnership with TCOG, sat down, looked at our easements, and came up with a preliminary drawing that we're going to submit tomorrow to the MPO board in Paris. We also have a presentation tomorrow at 8:30. Came up with a 6-phase project because the North Park project, being just under $1 million, was a pretty large chunk for us to jump off in. So phasing it out into 6 segments, the first segment being what we are proposing to the MPO board, extends from the North Park all the way up to the high school. And not only will it provide an opportunity for people that generally utilize the track at the middle school for activity, but it will also provide an opportunity for children to have a safe route to school, to the middle school and the high school that live here in the community. Jennifer, and in the dark blue at the top is the phase one. Everybody that's familiar with North Park can see where it starts and where it terminates on the north end of the map. Jennifer, if you roll over. So the majority of the easement that we're looking at is owned by the school district. So the only easement that we're going to have to go out that's private is the field from Spence going north to the high school that we'll have to gain easement, as well as if we're not able, there's a private property owner just south of the middle school as well as GCEC. And if we cannot gain that easement because it's not going to fit within the TxDOT right-of-way, Dr. Spees and the school district have agreed to take it down the property line of the middle school and then behind the GCEC and the private property owner on over to North Park. That way we can still maintain continuity and connectivity in the community. That is not our first choice, but if we're awarded the grant, then that's our second option that we will take. If you go to the next slide, Jennifer. Transportation Enhancement Program. This is same PowerPoint we rolled over when we originally brought it to y'all for the North Park project. The money's come out of the Federal Highway Administration, issued guidance activities for 1999. The goals are to stress mobility, connectivity being the buzzword that they kept stating to us, protection of the human and natural environment, and community preservation, sustainability, and livability. Go on to the next one, Jennifer. 12 eligible activities include facilities for pedestrian and bicycles, as well as there's about 12 criteria. On the original North Park project, we had 2 of the criteria that were further down the list. Go on over to the next slide, Jennifer. When we came back and did the connectivity, I know we're just highlighting one, but when we came back, no, I'm sorry, go back to the last one, please. When we came back and did the hike and bike trail, we hit the first criteria as far as facilities for pedestrians and bicycles. So it will meet muster, and it's actually going to be the top tier going down. And how the program works for the Transportation Enhancement Program. The funds are made available during the budgeting process. Transportation bill is funded. Administration and funding is delegated to the states. In Texas, TxDOT is named as a responsible agency, and that's who the MPO is going to present the program to. Support a local candidate projects by providing 20% of allowable costs, and that's one of the reasons we're coming back to y'all. The project's nominated by a local MPO board. Again, that's who's meeting tomorrow morning at 9:30 at the TxDOT office. And the Sherman Denison MPO is taking the nominations, and we're one of 2, the other one being Denison. That's the one to redo their downtown streets. The expenditures conform to state and federal provisions. On Jennifer. And the purpose is to provide public, FHWA, and other interested parties with a prioritized list of projects. We define the area of planning, create a public involvement process, which is where we're bringing it back to the public as well as the mayor and council. We presented it to Parks and CDC board, and they're excited about the revision to the project and for us to take it back to the MPO. And also develops selection processes and reports on previous efforts. Go ahead. And does the project qualify? We believe it does. We've met with our engineering firm. We've gained consensus. They gave us an itemized project list, which will be on the tail end of this. And does the project enhance and directly relate to the transportation system? We believe it does, because it is going to enhance our ability for our children to make it safely again to the middle school and the high school, as well as exercise and fitness for anybody that wants to utilize the path going up and down, as opposed to being behind the middle school. One of the opportunities and one of the things that we like about this is visibility as well. So that way, if there are any issues, safety issues, any problems that somebody may experience, they're not hidden behind the middle school. They're actually out on the walking path adjacent to Highway 5. Go ahead, Jennifer. Does anybody have any questions? Mayor, Council? ahead.
Naturally.
And Karen Torber is on the MPO board.
Okay. I've been talking to some of the parents around, and there's concern about the comments made where I wouldn't let my teenage daughter up there. There's a concern about safety, and if you have a swimming pool, you have a lifeguard. Will there be anyone watching over that area to ensure that it's safe? As the parent mentioned to me, there are at least 2 registered pedophiles in the area. What are we going to do? How safe will it be?
Well, if they are pedophiles, then they aren't typically allowed to live anywhere near the schools. And secondly, I believe that the visibility of being adjacent to Highway 5 is going to add that element of visibility for not only for PD to be able to patrol as opposed to a walking path being behind the middle school that most people are able to utilize for health and safety. So it's a community effort. So anybody up and down Highway 5 that has an opportunity to see something going awry, they would be able to contact us and we'd be able to get people together.
And I will say when we met with Dr. Speedies and the maintenance director at the school, we actually recommended Highway 5 as where we put the walkway and the bicycle track. And they recommended, they said that they would prefer it to be where it's not in that high traffic area. The school is the school district as well as us as partnership are going to be charged with educating the community on how to utilize this new facility. There's an educational process that's going to have to come with it.
Is that citizen presence so we can address those concerns?
Pardon?
Is that citizen presence so we can
No.
address those concerns? Okay. What else can I answer?
Public involvement. How involved has the public been in this?
We've posted the agenda. We've placed it in the papers at Prime Robin. We have taken the CDC and the Parks Board. That's what else do we think that we need?
Just, how far involved is the school? What all is going on? The people that, who's going to use it? I guess that's the main thing.
Well, the
Will it be
citizens,
used?
the students that currently walk from Marditch to the high school, in the middle school. And anybody that wants to be active, get out and walk their animals, walk their pets. And it wants to have a more obscure, visible environment to do so.
Now, it's a bicycle and pedestrian path. How will it be divided?
We will have a line down the center.
Line down the
2-foot
center.
line, yes, ma'am.
And will both ways? I know, having lived in Europe and have the bicycle paths like that with the pedestrians, there is a training process too, because if you walk into the bicycle path, you can easily get run over.
This is honestly one that is outside of Highway 5. Once it comes through town, the greatest easement is going to be down North Dallas. There's opportunities for us to start doing education as far as letting pedestrians, bicyclists, as well as motorists know and clearly marking the roadway as far as who's allowed and what. So this portion is actually going to be separate from Highway 5. It will be outside the Texas Dock right-of-way. I'm sorry, I have a little trouble speaking. If you, so the separation will be there on this phase 1. And that's what we're looking for.
Now, how much of the cost is engineering and how much is...
Jennifer, you roll the next slide, please.
I have a question on that line too, the budget.
Yes, sir.
What was you going to ask for?
I was just going to say, how much of it is being picked up by the CDC? How much of it will be through the city that we'll be responsible for?
Well-
And do we have the funds to do it?
Yeah.
Currently, we have a portion of the funds. Councilman Smith had brought up a very good question back at the last meeting when we were discussing North Park. And there's just over 30,000 that we have set aside that were part of the parks loan bonds for, and since those have been paid off, we checked with our accountant, and he had stated that since the parks projects are paid off and we're outside those bonds, that the money is actually free for us to utilize for other parks projects. And that money can be actually identified for this. So that would be the city's portion. Of course, we need to go to CDC to seek approval for that portion of the funding. Do you have
And
any
it
other?
is a multi-year.
It is. We have 4 years once this is funded to take care of this project and get it accomplished. Do you have any idea when we'd be award, when this project is typically funded after
No, I
the
don't.
state? Okay. So, but we typically have 4 years, like I've stated, when we're looking at the North Park project, to actually set aside funds to make this happen. This is a lot more reasonable. It's a lot easier to achieve this first phase of the project. Of course, North Park, we don't want to ignore that. That is something that we want to table and we want to bring back, and we'll look to identify the funds and other great projects to be able to fund that enhancement for North Park. But this is going to get us where we need to go as far as that grant is concerned.
I would like to address that real quick, just clarify a couple things. We have been meeting with the school district for several months on addressing this issue. They actually instigated the first meeting because their bus routes are so.
They're trying to get the bus routes, maybe they're trying to get the bus routes out of the neighborhoods and make it to where kids that were on the northwest side of town that didn't have to cross Highway 5 or Van Alstyne Parkway had the ability to walk to school if they chose to, as opposed to riding the bus. And to try and curtail ridership, trying to encourage the children to have more exercise as far as walking to school, walking home from school. As far as safety is concerned, safety is always an issue, so we definitely don't want anything negative to happen. We don't want this to be an issue that where somebody has apprehension walking the trail. That's why we did want to be visible. We didn't want to be right outside, but that's our problem. So I can certainly understand the citizens' concerns.
Like I said, it was like, I had to try to get out the door because I couldn't get away.
And that's why the Plan B for the easement goes behind GCDC and the private property owner, because we do want to have as much visibility with this track as possible.
But we were meeting with the school, and there was a grant that was available at the time, the Safe Routes to School, and that grant has since been renewed.
This is the same bucket of funds that the Safe Routes to Schools.
So I was appointed to the NPO board in October. The first meeting that I went to, there was kind of a little secret deal going on about Denison knew that this was available, and I overheard the mayor of Denison say, well, we're the only ones that are applying for this grant, so we got it wrapped up. And I was, those of you that know me, no, I said, oh, no. We are going to, but the thing is, there was such a short window of time to get this done in, and thank Lynn and Frank and Anita for working so hard, and Karen and everybody that's worked on this to get this put together in such a short period of time. And then they actually have extended the deadline just a tiny bit to kind of help us out a little bit. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to improve Van Alstyne, improve the quality of life in Van Alstyne, make it look better, more appealing, and at a very minimal cost to the city or to the organizations that can help us make this happen.
I have a question, Stuart. The city has to commit to 20% of a public project, and use engineering fees. It shows here a public project estimate of $216,200.
That's what cost of it is.
And 20% is the $43,240. And then you have the engineering to $38,132 million for public committed by the city, $75,420. If you're going to the state for $175,720, that's $251,000.
Well, there's been revision, right, $14,000.
Plus two, there's administration fees that TechStop will that had to be added to that.
Well, if they commit to, if you're granted funding of 175,720, and the city has to commit 75, that makes the project $259,000.
That's just phase one.
Well, I don't know what phase it is, but it doesn't match the 260,000 except what it says as a public total. So my main question is then, is our only commitment 75,420, and what percentage of that would be required during this fiscal year? And will we be able to
How many phases total are there?
There's 6 phases, Mr. Smith.
How many, how much is estimated that each phase will cost?
Let's see. I don't know if I have the total phase out, sir. I do have that cost. I can email it to you. I'm sorry, we're just focusing on phase 1. This is one of the larger phases as far as distance, and as far as manpower and actual pavement is concerned. So this tackling this phase is going to be one of the larger phases. Almost, I do have the cost, the total cost phase out that I did have from Linda Vance. I just did not put it. Sorry. Do you have it? Do you? That's the preliminary. And Jennifer, if you can take us back to just a minute. Anybody else?
Oh,
And the resolution, and it's the same thing here, this one, structure cost of money here, the 3.77. 15% administrative, 262, so that's 262, so we're requesting that.
So the total of the city will be eventually, with all 6 phases, will be $1 million.
If we end up not finding the rates. Yes, sir.
So you're asking, I don't want to commit to one if that means we're going to commit to all 6.
No, sir, that's not my answer.
But
The other 5 phases are just a plan, where we have all portions of the city.
is it logical if you do one phase that you would want to do all the phases to make the
That's
project
logical.
complete?
And we can find it out.
So the total cost to the city is $200,000. If it's $1 million and we pay 20%, it could possibly be that if we approve this tonight for phase 6,
Yes, sir.
we could, in essence, encumber the city for $200,000 if we continue.
Sure. But if we're just going, if we're doing it in phase 1 over 3 or 4 years, and you're looking at short term, we could possibly do this in 7 years, long term, it's 20 years to go off 6 phases.
But I just think the reality, we need to know that this is $1 million project.
Yes, sir.
It's not a $200,000 project. And there's a big difference in what the city's going to contribute over years. If it is 20 years, we're still contributing $200,000 as opposed to whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
This 43,240
That's all.
includes engineering and, no,
Engineering, the MPO and the grant will not cover the engineering, so that's why the engineering is pulled out. And engineering fees in the amount of $32,180 are outside of that. The engineering is for the surveys, sectioning out the right-of-ways, as well as any other issues. Am I missing anything, Lynn?
Well, you need easement documents,
The easement documents.
survey easement documents.
Yes.
who's paying for that?
That would be the portion that I'm asking for as far as the 75,420.
You're asking for 32 from
32 from the city,
city.
and 32 from CDC, once this project's funded.
Is the school contributing anything?
School is contributing the right away.
But no money,
The
even though it'll be,
The right away is significant.
is it?
Yes, ma'am.
The reason I was asking first for the information on, how involved is the public in this project is because having had to grade both Denison's and our project, we didn't have a lot to go on, or I didn't have a lot to go on. And it was very difficult to build it up because they had citizen after citizen after citizen, and that's why I asked, have we involved the public in this project, and are they behind it, and have they written letters or signed petitions or whatever, because that documentation is missing in our application.
I think a good point of that is what the mayor came back to as far as Denison being prepared, knowing about the project.
Denison
And
knew
then
about
having
it
plenty of
long
time.
before.
Us having a very short window,
Yeah.
and bringing everybody together in this time frame.
But we've had 2 extensions now, so I was wondering if anything was done during that time to go out and actively pursue involvement.
What was the time frame of these extensions?
And the extensions weren't for just us.
No, it's for both, because they both had to be
It wasn't
redone.
even just for Denison, it was for the whole school.
Right.
So, we never asked for an extension. As far as public support, I have a letter, of course, from the mayor. I have a letter from Cheryl, our president of the chamber. I have a letter from Dr. Spees. I have a letter from our county judge.
For this new
Right, I do have
project?
it now, and I
Okay.
requested one from Larry Phillips, our state representative, because he signed one for our
Yeah.
previous project, but I haven't got any response back from him yet. Also, I have a sheet, because we're having a public hearing. Anybody that, if you think this is an awesome project, here's a sheet of paper, and it will go with my attachments for the grant. So I will put the sheet in the back, and if you're for this, please sign it before you leave.
What about Grayson College? Have we contacted them for support for this? Or Ralph, our representative Ralph Paul? This is just, all the different things that have support, community support
Sure.
is what I'm concerned about, because that's what I was having to grade.
And to me, it's wonderful that Denison had that kind of time frame. They've been given an extension just like this.
Yeah.
Again, I think in the time frame that we've known about it and have been able to put something together, it goes well for what community's done as far as getting support, getting letters of support inside and outside the community. Yes, probably a couple of letters missing. Yes. Probably do. I'm not clients, but.
Well.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
So the 32 fits into our budget.
Yes, ma'am, as far as what we have currently.
And that would be the only city funds required for this fiscal year. CDC is going to,
If it's funded this year.
it is going to
CDC said they would consider it.
they would consider.
They would, you can't approve something that you don't have yet. We approved it.
And the whole thing about going after this grant service, if we don't have the funds, we can tell them it's not able to push that back.
So if you could go through the approval process and if CDC were for some reason to find they could not permit it, the city could.
We can run it back out. So it's like any federal or state grant. The main issue is when Again, I mean, if the city, if we incur any type of financial hardship or we do not fulfill our financial obligation to the project, we can back out.
If there's no other questions, we'll close the public hearing and move into the consent agenda. Number 6, approval of minutes from the November 13th, 2012 regular meeting and November 27th, 2012 special call meeting. Council, you were provided the minutes prior. Are there any questions?
On item number 8,
On which one?
on the November 13th,
Mm-hmm.
there's no mention of any vote or any info about it. How the vote came or when it happened. Jim made a motion to accept, we don't know what happened after.
And,
I think the staff was directed to bring something back. Weren't they, Jennifer? As far as,
They were, but there should be a second, and ultimately
There was
the motion approved. Yeah, it is missing that.
something to go back, you have your notes.
I have that Jim made the motion, Billy seconded, and all were in favor.
Can we add that? Any other concerns? I have a motion to approve of that amendment.
Make a motion.
Councilman Blake motions to approve the minutes with that amendment to item number 8 on the 13th of November. And Councilman Twitter seconds. All in favor? All in favor? Opposed? Oh, motion passed. We will move on to regular agenda non-consent. Number 7, recognize the Van Alstyne Library Teen Council recipients of the Grayson County Crisis Center certificate. Yeah, we're there.
Is it 13?
Yes, ma'am, we recognize it.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am, it's all on the same. Yes, ma'am.
Recognize the Van Alstyne Library Teen Council recipients of the Grayson County Crisis Center certificate of appreciation.
My name is Judy Spence, and I am a young adult librarian for the Van Alstyne Public Library. I also have the pleasure of serving as our sponsor and mentor for our young adult group called Teen Council. With me today are Kate and Joe Stroud, who are former members and are active members, former officers, and are active members today. One of the programs that we conduct is called GME Brigade, which is a literacy outreach program to the Crisis Center in Sherman. The idea for this program was actually conceived a few years ago, but died due to lack of funding. The idea was revived early last year, and thanks to the generosity of the merchants of Van Alstyne, we began visiting the Crisis Center once a month last February, on number 6.
The Gen Brigade is a literacy outreach in the form of a story time, a puppet show, a craft, milk and cookies, new jammies, and free books. So far, we've been to the Crisis Center 10 times, and I personally have been there 6 out of those 10. And sometimes there are new kids, and often we see the same faces. General Gate is a collaborative effort, and we receive help from several people. We borrow each one's puppet show from the Frisco Public Library. Our craft is provided by our children's librarian, Miss Emily Kendrick, and the books we give out are from donations from patrons, and the milk and cookies and the jammies are funded by the merchants of Van Alstyne.
The staff are always happy to see us, and the last time we went, they surprised us by presenting us with a certificate of appreciation, which we would like to share with the council tonight.
The certificate we plan on framing and hanging in the library, and we would like to invite everyone to come and visit it where it will be on display. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Team Council. We will now consider and take any action necessary regarding authorizing the city manager to sign a professional services agreement for structural assessment of City Hall.
Mayor and Council, we have the presentation done by Teddy and Salmon for the museum. We have asked Lynn McManus and Geary Partners if they had a structural engineer available to do an assessment on the museum. We did get an individual up from, a structural engineer up from Alstyne to take a preliminary assessment of the museum, as well as our concerns for City Hall. We've done inspections of it in the past, but we don't know the structural state of City Hall. We have an upstairs that right now is untenable, and so as part of the CDC having the museum worked on and assessed, we'd like to have City Hall assessed as well. The fiscal impact to City Hall is for the engineering assessment to state what the structural issues may or may not be is $2,500 with a $600 contingency fee if it's assessed when the concurrent site observation is done with the museum. If not, if the City Hall, if we come back at a later time and decide we want to have a structural assessment done of City Hall without the museum being concurrently done, the price goes up to $2,800. Of course, the lump sum of the additional visits are $600. I'd be happy to ask any questions, answer any questions.
How much did it cost to have the museum assessed?
The cost of the museum was $1,500 for the museum assessment. The museum being a one-story building, they came in with a price of $1,500, but I believe the contingency fee is also $600 as well, just like it is for City Hall.
As far as I recall. I'm sorry, I didn't bring that, but it seemed we had our board hasn't went over the museum.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. I'm just trying to speak both of us.
And that money, cost for that is covered by the CDC?
For the museum, yes, sir. But for City Hall, we have to come out of all that. We have to identify funds.
Has that money been budgeted?
No, sir, it hasn't. It was an issue, but it wasn't something that we brought to council. No, because when the museum, if you remember when the museum issue concern was brought to us, it was as we were finalizing the budget. So, in trying to look out for the best interest of the city, we hadn't brought this assessment, this preliminary assessment, and the cost, potential costs for the assessment to y'all to consider.
What budgeted item would have to be sacrificed to cover the cost of this?
That's an excellent question, sir.
Let me ask you, it says here the fiscal impact is $2,500. Are you reviewing the professional services agreement. It has a very lump sum amount of $65,000.
Yes, sir, that'd be the combined amounts for City Hall and the museum.
Well, I took this that it was either an option of one or two, each one being 31 and one being 34. And we're not doing two together.
Yes. Lynn, do you have an answer for that?
I've seen that.
Okay. I can take that back to him. We already have a professional service agreement with Yuri. So we would not have to sign this document, already having one in place. As far as that 6,500, for that.
Does Green Partners have a Dallas office?
Yes.
Okay. And along those lines too, there was many articles of this agreement that really don't pertain to this service. This is somewhat generic reads on that. Could this be, we have some type of exceptions to some articles having removed from this?
Yeah, this was the Alstyne office. Glenn McManus would be in partners. We've got 5310 Harvest Hill in Dallas. This is our standard agreement in the Alstyne office because we requested that, sent that up here, and it got through to Frank before I could intercept it and tackle it. So we do already have an existing city contract involved, and so we would put a work authorization with it. So you already have a contract with us that has standard language, so a lot of that language would go away. That's what, we would just issue another work authorization with the structural assessment of City Hall on that. And so that contract that you're looking at is, that's a standard private development.
So in the contract that you currently have, is there a more clearly defined definition as to additional services and costs?
Yes. Yes. They have to be specifically identified with each work authorization on that. And then we can also define the maximum price at that point, which would take care of that other issue of the 65.
Mr. Baker, in the budget, is there a one-line budget that would address routine engineering services or something through the year for the city?
Or it's not currently. We could pull it out of contract services, but as far as it's being specifically identified within contract services,
Is there any specific reason that you think this may have been
just we have on the side of the brick, I don't know exactly what that masonry covering is called, but we consistently have it falling off, whether it's when the doors are open and closed, or it's in the wind, or it's a combination factor. But when you go upstairs to take documents to store on the second floor, there's evidence of a fire in the past that nobody has any knowledge of when it happened, as well as we have structural bricks that are part of the outside walls that are actually falling into the second floor. So the concern is there. It not only our field of knowledge, that's what we want for the outside, plus it being an outside wall for the walk. There's some concern there as far as if it did away, would it cause a cascade of failures throughout the block?
Would it be possible to verify that there is an option 1, option 2, and the total cost is not 65 million actually? Which
we can actually, since the whole idea was to bring this to your attention, we can actually table this until CDC verifies that they will do their assessment of the museum and bring it back and say, yes, the museum, CDC's on board with the museum, is this something that would like to consider?
I'd like to see us stay within our balanced budget, and that building's been there for 122 years, and I think typically runs, that's probably not going to cause it any more damage. We could lobby for this cost for next year's budget. And maybe get your rowdy neighbors upstairs to not be so loud. That might help more than anything. Try not to loosen any bricks.
Yes, sir. We try not to drop the boxes.
Yeah.
That will start.
Well, I've noticed in the downtown area, there's lots of buildings that have the bricks falling out of the windowsills, just like upstairs. It's not unique to that building. It's a common problem. But I'd like to see it stay within our budget and not take away from something that we intended to have. And I think 10 months to wait for the budget.
Okay.
On the time frame, 122 years and 10 months, I think we can handle about 10 more months.
I understand, but with the risk benefit of the potential for failure, and yes, it's been there 122 years. Could it fall down?
Sure.
Yes. Could it not? Yes. So you're right. I mean, what's the gamble? As well as when the appraisal district came back with their assessment of what our general fund taxes are going to be, property tax, it was actually higher. So there may be funds available to do this assessment this current year. Of course, this is something we probably will look at after February 1st with the property taxes.
At a minimum, and then we will not have to sacrifice something that we plan to do.
I fully agree.
That's something we'd like.
Yes, sir.
What happens if we have this investigation done, this assessment, they determine things are caving in and falling apart? Does that mean that you have to condemn the building, or you have to go fix it, or what exactly happens then?
Well, if we identify the problem, then yes, we need to address it. If we ignore the problem and it becomes a bigger hazard, or we end up with a catastrophic failure, and it's where's the risk and where's the liability. So being prudent and actually not necessarily leading the charge, because others have tread before us as far as fixing up all the properties downtown. As far as being on the front end of trying to fix up one of our old historic properties, I'm for identifying what the issues are. The whole idea is for y'all to consider it, and when we're looking at the museum, for y'all to not come back and go, you know what, Frankie, why didn't y'all get an assessment on this? So just trying to be prudent, trying to bring things to you for y'all to consider that are possible risks to the city.
We have the Grayson County Paranormal Society and exorcism.
So we want to table item number 8 and get some further clarification on the item. Okay, we are going to move, we're going to skip 9, 12, this time in 13. Consider and take any action necessary regarding resolution approving the terms and conditions of city-wide sign agreement and authorize the city manager to sign the city-wide sign agreement. Ms. Kenita.
Good evening, everyone. This is a CDC project that has been a project for a while. TxDOT is really picky about the stuff that goes out on the highway. There's to be a particular color paint, the signs have to be so big, and so it took us a while to find signs and stuff like that. And then also there was the issue of, okay, when we get the sign, who's going to put the sign in? So there for a while there's a little tug of war with, okay, is this something the city can do or not? So the city doesn't have time to do that, and have other projects. So we did a little bit of research, and we found Jim Raleigh, who is with, he's an engineer, and he also makes the signs. So in addition to getting the sign, he also be installing it. So I'm going to step aside, and if y'all have questions, you can ask him, and maybe let him introduce himself.
Mayor, member of council, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. To go with this, any questions you may have with this quote regarding the city pride signs being placed on both the north and south end of Highway 75 for the city of Alstyne.
This is fully funded by CDC, correct?
Yes, however, when I put this stuff together, our budget is for 4,200, and this is 4721, so we will have to come back with you, back to the council to approve the additional $521. And I just noticed that this week.
I did read that the city would assume maintenance costs after installation of the sign, but what type of maintenance is usually involved in this?
There should be very little maintenance. This sign will have a vandalism coating on it to protect in the event that it's been sprayed or anything that should wipe right off. So it should be a very low maintenance sign for the city.
If a car hits it, who's responsible?
That doesn't, that film will not protect it from the car.
The individual insurance.
But it does
Will
have,
it be the city's responsibility, the state, or the insurance company's responsibility to reinstate?
as I understand it, the city of Alstyne is going to insure the sign, and we'll be glad to come over and replace it in the event that someone runs over it.
I noticed a couple of their signs, state signs, exit signs and that sort of thing, that either blow down or knock down.
They're designed to do that. That's
Well, I know they.
break free.
They stay on the ground a longer period of time than I just want to know in advance who's responsible for writing the sign if it's.
We'll be glad to come back over and install it.
Free?
What's the saying? Ain't nothing free, is it?
If we approve this, will we also be approving the dollar amount? So we don't have to come back and delay this another month?
Yeah, if you want to approve the additional $5.
That way we don't have to, we don't have to wait for longer. I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for 472162.
Councilman Smith makes a motion to approve the agreement at the quoted price. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Flake seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
How long does it take for installation?
The manufacturing will take 2 to 3 weeks for the signs, and it'll take about a week to 2 weeks depending on weather. As long as we're not getting any running season. It doesn't appear to be the case.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to do another little revision. We're going to go ahead and move executive session up. So we are going to convene into executive session at 7:27. We are closing executive session at 8:15, reconvening back into open session. A motion?
I make a motion that we accept our city manager agreement with changes that have been suggested that go through the city lawyer to changes be made to it to be able to allow the city and the mayor to negotiate a contract with Frank for becoming the permanent city manager.
I have a motion by Councilman Flake. Do I have a second? I have a second by Councilman Jennings. All in favor? Opposed? We have Councilman Flake, Councilman Jennings in favor, Councilman Smith, Councilman Twitter opposed. That leaves the mayor as the deciding vote, and I vote in favor.
discussed earlier, if y'all have any additional questions.
I have one question, I guess. Is that why not the CPC money, the funds that are available for any other projects? No.
My question would be, we have not sought application. This is two separate applications. I make a motion to seek application to basic public transportation.
I have a motion by Councilman Jennings. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilman Clay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We will now consider and take any action necessary regarding approval of resolution certifying approval of funding in support of the Van Alstyne bicycle district project. Is that the same?
It's for to consider taking action.
We did the motion
Oh, is it?
on the number 9 instead of number 10, but the vote was the same.
Number 9, sorry. Hear the presentation again. Number 10 is to take any action as far as approval of resolution certifying
Right.
funding.
Number 10 is where the action needs to.
Okay, so now we
Yeah, I make a motion to take action.
I second it.
Councilman Jennings. Motion to approve it, Councilman Clay. Second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
I did that already.
Deja vu. 11, consider and take any action necessary regarding approval to apply for the Tucker Foundation grant for replacement shelving. This must be.
I know we're all tired, I promise to go. Can you all hear me without this mic being closer? Okay, Tucker Foundation is an organization that provides non-competitive grants to libraries that serve a population of less than 10,000. So we're looking to make an application for some funding from the next year to change out some of the shelving in the library. I want to give you an idea of what we're going to do. Okay, I guess you can't see this very well. Can we turn the light out? Thank you, Chief. Part of the shelving, this right here is our Spanish collection, and it's double-sided, but you can see it's kind of an array of stuff, and it's packed tight because it's not big enough for our growing collection. So we'll be looking to replace this collection with one long strip of shelving that will be double-sided, a little bit taller, and so we'll have consistent look to it, and it will house more. Next one. This is our paperback shelving here, and it runs down this wall. You can see the biggest problem is the shelving is too deep for the paperback, so we use 1x4s to keep from losing them behind the shelving. So it would be replaced with shelving that will run this wall that is the proper depth for the paperbacks. Next. This area is our genealogy collection, and two sides of this is our audiobooks collection. So what we'll do again, we've got a multiple of different types of shelving that runs through here, and then at a part you can't see on the other side, we have another one of these. And they're packed pretty tight, and it's a little disorganized. So we'll be looking to replace this shelving with one long two-sided thing, and then we'll replace this with a two-sided shelving that matches it, that's still about this height, so we have good visual. Okay, Jennifer? This is the other side of that, and we'll actually be moving the audiobooks over to another spot, and I'll show you that in just next. This is the nonfiction, the adult nonfiction collection, and there's a couple of things here that are a problem. Between one side and the other, this pole right here runs, but there's nothing between the two sides that runs in here. And so if you've got a long book on this side and you push it in, it pushes the books out on the other side. Plus you can see there's no tops to these, and there's no end panels. And so what we have here is this little taped up sign. So we'll be looking to replace that, and I'll show you a picture later on, with some shelving that has a lip off the back of each shelf that runs all the way down between them, has a nice top on it, and has a nice end cap. Go ahead, Jennifer. This is our movie section. And again, there are a couple of problems here. One is you can see there's two different heights. There's, again, a depth problem, so we're using our 1x4s to keep from losing our videos. And there's no end panels. And so this is what we'd like to have. Now go ahead. This is the type of shelving we'll be looking at getting. Is something that it's very, believe it or not, the shelving is actually very similar to what's there. It's just, it'll have tops and it'll have end panels. So we can put some proper signage and stuff for people to find, and it'll just look nicer. And the audiovisual shelving actually goes against the wall. It'll have end panels too. And then it has these little multiple sections. It's the right depth, and then has the little sections where it's about 5 DVDs in one section, so you don't pull one out and the whole side falls over. So that's all I'm asking for, is permission to seek the grant to make these changes.
Will you seek the entire 100%?
Well, the Tucker Foundation gives a maximum of $50,000. The job comes up to $49,000 something, and it's still going to require a little bit of sweat equity from our volunteers to help remove some of the old stuff. They included everything in the grant, in the quote that they could, that they're people to remove some of the old shelving and to box up the books and then put the books back on the shelves for us.
What will you do?
It is metal, and it will recycle for money for the city. Any other questions?
I make a motion we approve allowing the library to apply for the funds to create new shelving in the library.
Motion by Councilman Flagg, have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Baker, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We will now consider and take action regarding awarding the construction contract for US 75 sanitary sewer bid number WA 12-03 in the amount of $134,209 to Gadbury Construction Company, Inc., and authorize the city manager to execute a contract for this second.
Mayor and Council, we have Lynn McManus from Peary Partners present to discuss this.
Mayor and Council, we put out to bid the US 75 sewer. You remember this runs basically from the lift station on the south side of town up to just past the Brahms. Relieves an issue with the TCEQ. We had put out bids in accordance with state law and received 7 bids when we got back. Low bidder was Gadbury Construction in the amount of $134,239. We have checked the references, and matter of fact, the foreman was the work for the other company that did Pearl Street. So we've got some experience with them, and would recommend that you award this bid at this time. Any questions?
The other project they did on Pearl Street, didn't come in budget?
Well, no, there were, we had to extend it for rock, that we ran into rock south of the church there. So there was extenuating circumstances that nobody could foresee. They did that. We checked the references and their history of work orders and change orders, and any contractor runs into something unforeseen. It's there, but there was no unusual claims or anything like that.
And so did you have contingency in that project?
Yes, we did.
And you exceeded that contingency?
Right, yes, we did, yeah.
By how much?
The actual, well, we actually repaved the street in addition. So, I mean, the sewer project itself went over contingency by about $5,000, if I remember correctly.
That's contingency.
The only that concerned me in the calculations is that there's a 14% difference in no bid with the next, but there's a 32% difference in the cost combined for the manholes. Is that 32%? That's because you're talking over about $10,000 right there.
No, just where they put the cost for either equipment supply and labor to build those manholes, or contractors know what it's going to take for parts and materials to do it, and labor, and they just they put their profit in different items, so it could be anywhere in that process.
Any other questions?
Is this place in the budget?
This is the cities that are actually this is the cities, it's not.
Yeah, but I'm saying we, yeah.
Have a motion? Motion by Councilman Smith to award the contract. Is there a second? Councilman Flake seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We're moving on to item 14. Consider and take any action necessary regarding appointments to the Alstyne Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. We had 4 applicants at the time. The temporary EDC board met, and 3 were approved. We have Timberlake Kelly, Nicholas Williams, and Nathan Petrie. And the council has their applications in their packet. And we'll actually have the first meeting approved on Friday, next Friday.
We're going to adhere to the charter, the bylaws, or whatever, about having a council members.
I have actually contacted Dr. Steve.
If we put these 3 in tonight, we won't have room for Karen stays on. We won't have room for the required.
It is a recommendation. Bylaws.
It was followed when I was. What was the third? Leah, what was the third? In your email that you said the school, the city council, and there was a third. And the chamber. Are those the guidelines we're going to follow, or we're going to create new?
That will be up to the EDC board. They are.
Should be considered seriously. Because those are written guidelines.
I think the EDC board needs to meet I mean, the bylaws, I mean, just try to revise some of the bylaws as they're written.
It doesn't do a whole lot of good to eliminate the good old boy system and to replace it with the good old girl system. handpicked you deciding who you want on that board. We might as well have kept those vans for the week before we do it that way.
Who handpicked them?
You're not following guidelines.
Are the ones that applied present tonight?
Yes.
Would they like to speak as to their intentions and willing to serve?
They've done that already.
If that's okay, I don't mind at all,
I would not.
for your sake, because you weren't here that morning.
That's fine.
First of all, I think it's really important for Mr. Jennings to know that I approached the mayor regarding serving on the EDC. She did not approach me regarding that. I have a strong desire to see Van Alstyne be everything that I believe this little city can be. I moved here because I absolutely love it. I'm passionate about it, and I think it's actually positioned in a good place for growth. And so, Mr. Jennings, I believe that I have qualifications from the many things that I've done in my lifetime. In particular, seeing two other little cities grow and to become something pretty wonderful today. One is a world-class city today, Huntington Beach, California, and the other is Colorado Springs, Colorado. And so I really feel like I have a lot to offer the city in this season of its growth and development, and that's why I apply.
I approached City Hall once I found out about the opening. 4 years ago, I moved here to join the Van Alstyne Fire Department when I realized that Van Alstyne has the ability to grow, become what I think will be a strong suburb. And so, joined the fire department after working there for 2 years. Moved to Van Alstyne. Again, moved here because I thought Van Alstyne could grow to be a great city. When the positions became open, I inquired about it, applied, have a history in sales, although not for a long time, but before I became a firefighter, and decided that I thought I could help and step forward and put in my application.
Can I clarify something? Did I approach you when I asked you? And Nathan Petrie, the other applicant, actually, Frank Baker and I met with him on an unrelated concern, and he let me know and let us know that he wanted to start getting involved in the community. He is a new manager at Landmark Bank and asked us where he could get plugged in, and we mentioned multiple areas for him to get plugged in, and he chose to apply for EDC, and I had never met him prior to that. The positions were put in the paper on 2 different occasions. It was put in the newspaper, it was put on Facebook, it was put on the website. And we did have multiple applications.
The question was posed, I reckon, where does council go? You mentioned the chamber, which Landmark is a member of. You mentioned the CDC, which currently doesn't have an opening. And you mentioned EDC. And asked what the intentions were for council serving on EDC. I remember you saying that you didn't, that y'all didn't intend for it to be a permanent situation. And you wanted to be part of the solution.
Now, are we going to stagger the terms, or is everyone going to come on all at the same
No, the
time?
terms in the bylaw are staggered.
Well, in the bylaws, the very first time that EDC was created, they staggered the first round, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
No.
So, even though it was that first time, I would think that would be something that we would want to consider staggering the new board, because it's basically starting over.
And that's something that they would have to go back and revise.
That's correct.
So that would be done by the CDC,
By
the
the
EDC.
So when if people are elected or approved by the council, they'll all have terms.
That'll have to be adjusted in the bylaws.
Right now, as it stands, everybody that has come out from
No, but it shouldn't be, I mean, there should be,
There should be one or two or three.
That's not, the council will decide that's what it is for, to go back to the license.
I do have one question that just came to mind. Nick, how long have you lived in this district?
Here,
Yes, sir.
I believe it's about 2 years.
Do you have something, Julie?
I don't think it's a problem. I can tell you as a member of the fire department who could not be on the city council because of conflicts of interest, I don't think that same prohibition would prevent him from serving on the EDC board. But if you were going to appoint him, maybe just make it subject to my verifying that is the case and his position would make him ineligible.
I agree.
So these three are voted on, who stays on the council, I mean, on the board.
Right now, until further, it needs to be Karen myself.
There's no process that needs to be done since Karen's already on there to, for her to.
She needs to apply, just
the
like.
council already approved Ada.
That was a temporary.
Was it?
As a temporary appointment. Yeah. It needs to go through the process. Julie? If it was just a temporary
If it was
appointment
temporary, then I would guess that would be until the appointments were done.
I
I'll
was
be
looking
here
at
and
the
seeing
minutes,
that.
And I couldn't find anything that said that it was temporary.
I don't think we're temporary to the meetings, they might have assumed. I haven't taken the minutes to reflect.
I recall we used the word interim. We didn't see them in the report. In the application.
Well, depending on whose guidelines you want to use, if the CDC board chooses to create new ones, then they cannot require that a city council. That was the reason I was put on there in the very beginning, was because we had to have a city council developed. And I think it's important that Karen stays there. If she needs to go through the process, that's fine. I don't think it's appropriate to bump her off. I'd like to know if these three are approved, what positions they're going to be taking, who they're going to be replacing if there's a vacancy or if it's taking John's place, my place.
Well, that's for that board to decide among the board. That's not our decision. What positions they hold is their choice. The council can't dictate.
But who are we taking off of the board to make them commit? That's up to the council.
I would gladly.
Well, I will too. I mean, I want to be first. The council decides who to take off before you can put somebody else on.
Well, you already stated at the last meeting that you didn't want to.
No, I don't. And John has said he doesn't. But that needs to be recorded as documented information as opposed to just leaving it up on the air. Am I still on board or not on the board or what?
Okay, so you can include that in the motion.
Yeah, you can either clarify who the remaining members are in addition to the ones being appointed, or you could name the ones who are going off and the ones who are going on, just so that there is a clear record of who's remaining. If you want to designate which appointee is getting which length of term, you can do that, or if you want to direct them to decide amongst themselves, you can give them that direction as well.
I'd like the council to have the control of, that's our job, is to appoint members of the EDC board. And it should be our responsibility to designate which one, 3, 2, and 1. It's just something because it has to be staffed.
You certainly have that
And
authority.
that takes the process away from the CDC, the EDC board, and puts it back with the council where it needs to be. Because we're the ones that decide who's on the board for how long.
I'm not recommending it. I agree with you. Possibly we give these 3 or see on the board that they brought a number, postpone to a number of the prior board, and they will assume that position 1 through 5. And they draw 1 numbers, John Smith will take on this position.
Would that be feasible for you? I mean, would we know who's, I mean, since we're all classified as interim, none of us have a designated term. Who did I replace on the first board? I mean, there's no base to go to.
Well, I recall correctly, when we signed the bylaws, I think it was 4 signatures, and it's usually designate 1, 2, 3, 4. And simply draw a number out of the hat, and what you draw, you get the bid, and they have
We're talking about the private.
the process to simplify it, and that way we're not assigning years to something, it's simply draw a hat.
I'm gonna agree with that. Billy, you have to make a motion.
Oh, the other one's not on the.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we appoint, that we instruct the EDC members to have some sort of a drawing type
We
situation
gotta
occur.
approve
Huh?
we gotta approve the appointment first.
Oh, you want to approve the appointment?
We're going to approve them as a block or as individual?
I'll present them as a block.
Be sure to include the verification that there's no conflict.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the appointment of Nicholas Williams, Nathan Petrie, and Tamarol Kelly to be appointed to the EDC board after it's been verified that they're eligible to do so. And I also recommend that they, in that same motion, that they determine which position they hold as far as when their office is terminated by having some sort of drawing or lottery or something like that to determine. Is that what you're doing?
It's to replace the city staff.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
are they replacing?
Replacing the interim members, John Jennings.
Replacing interim members John Jennings, Jim Smith, and
We had 1 open.
had one open. Okay.
I say,
Do we want to add
What does that do to
Kim
me?
DeMasters and Terrence who are still acting as interim members?
I have to do it?
That, yeah.
Huh?
You still would be even if that.
Yeah, I don't think that is.
Okay, all right.
But you two can go ahead and draw for your position, so when we replace you, at least we know who we're filling in.
Okay, you got that, Jennifer?
Yes.
You have a second?
I say,
Councilman Jennings, second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so did you vote? Kim?
No, I didn't. I was looking for some paper.
So are you opposed or in favor?
I was just looking to see if it actually said interim, because the one thing that I had
Well,
did not
she said
indicate
that
interim.
you don't have to state that.
Okay. I'll vote with.
So we got Councilman Tuber, Councilman Jennings, and Councilman Blake in favor. Council Smith is abstained.
Is
Abstained. Okay, we will now consider and take any action necessary regarding approval of an ordinance amending ordinance 676 as it relates to utility service disconnections.
Mayor and Council, Jennifer Gould, City Clerk, please.
bringing this ordinance before you at the direction of the council. The ordinance will change the terminology to allow for the disconnection fee to be assessed basically as the work order is issued. We have recently had the issue of Public Works being in the act of doing the disconnection, and the argument being from the customers that the service hasn't been provided. In my personal opinion, the disconnection fee not only covers the physical act of the disconnection, but there's also administrative work that goes along with that, with the disconnection. We have to generate the list and provide the work orders for Public Works, and then they go out and carry out those orders. It will also amend section 120, I believe. And it will allow for service. Basically, it'll state in here that the disconnection will take place on the 26th or the next available date wherein City Hall is open the day after the disconnection. We have the wording that was provided in the packet, and then also on at your table left an alternate wording.
So which one are we talking about?
Whichever wording you're comfortable with. I personally like the one that I set down that was not in your packet, section 120B.
D, you said D.
D,
right?
yeah.
D is
The
big.
one.
It has an
You
additional
prefer a third one
sentence
to
at
these
the
two?
end.
Is that what you're saying?
No, sir. She first did.
I prefer
The one
D
you
on
guys,
the one that I
the one,
handed out today.
the one you handed out.
Right. It gets a little bit more clear.
I don't think that said what we wanted to do. Does it?
Yes, sir. The issue we were running into was, on the rare occurrence that City Hall was closed the day after disconnection, that we were not going to allow that. We were going to do disconnects on a day that City Hall was open that day as well as the day after which we disconnected physically.
If City Hall will be closed the day after the reconnection fee is assessed. So is the reconnection fee assessed on the day it's actually disconnected? That's what that infers to me.
Okay. City Hall will be closed the day after the reconnection fee is assessed.
It's assessed on the 26th day.
The reconnection fee? We don't even know if they're gonna reconnect. How would we?
Well,
How
the
do we
work
do it?
is done. The administrative work Jennifer was talking about has been completed, and there's just a hold on the physical act because City Hall won't be open the next day until they're open again. That's what it says.
It doesn't to me.
So it doesn't get them out of the $50, but it does make it to where when it happens, City Hall is open the next day to be able to come in.
Makes it so they can't do a disconnect on Friday and somebody get home at 5:30 that night and.
Right, I understand what we're trying to do.
They have a $100 after hours as
Right.
opposed to.
I understand what we're trying to do, I just don't think this has anything to do with it. So. Okay, on the 28th, okay, 26th day of the month, you assess them a reconnection fee. Is that true?
If this is adopted, yeah.
If this is adopted, then that's what we'll do.
So even though you don't know that they're gonna reconnect, you still issue them a reconnection fee?
Well, if they're late, and the work is still going to be done on the 26th day to generate the list, the administrative work, and the work orders are going to be done. The guys just are not going to go out and implement them until Monday, so that they don't have that weekend time frame if that falls on a Friday or the day before a holiday. That's what it says.
But they would have to pay the $50.
Yes.
If they have their water reconnected, if they move and they just didn't want their water reconnected, would they still square themselves up on that account? Would they still, even if they didn't have it reconnected, would they still have to pay a reconnect fee? I think that's what Billy's getting at, maybe.
According to this terminology, would they have to?
Bill, to simplify, maybe I see it as it gives them a 2-day grace period and they don't have to pay money. They don't have to pay $50.
I don't have any problem understanding what you're trying to do. I just have, if I'm a city person and I read the ordinance, I'm gonna think I have no idea when I can do anything. Because this doesn't tell me, I mean, first of all, I would think there would be a disconnect, if it was said on the 26th day of the thing, a work order will be issued saying that, you will be disconnected, but that disconnection day will always be a day before, that would make sense. But why it includes a reconnection fee, I have no idea.
Because on the 26th, that's when the administrative work is generated. The lists are ready to go. We don't do the physical act because the issue is running into is exactly what Mr. Smith said. When people come in at 5:30, the meter shut off and then they're having a call, and it's not a $50 fee, it's a $100 fee because it's after hours. Plus we've got a Saturday and a Sunday and the city hall's not closed. So the physical act doesn't take, the administrative act takes place with the reconnection fee attached to it. But the physical act, so that way people don't come home and have to have the water turned back on Saturday or Sunday. They actually have it done the next day, which.
But that's not what, this says that the physical disconnection will not occur until the next business day that the city hall is open. So if that happened to be, okay, let's see, we got it on Friday, we issued on Saturday, we won't do it till Monday, Tuesday's a holiday, sorry, we did it. We just got you. And it all fit within the plan here.
I see what you're saying.
Huh?
I see what you're saying.
So.
You could use, honestly.
Like we have a one-day week, or what's?
If you can use this coming New Year's as an example.
Hey, what the rule has to be is a disconnection will not occur on a day before a day that City Hall will not be open.
A day that City Hall is not regularly scheduled.
A disconnect will not occur on a day before City Hall will be closed. Period.
We could change the end of that sentence to say the physical disconnection will not occur until the next business day that the city hall is open at least 2 days in a row.
First day of that thing. You have to say the first day of the day, 2 days in a row. Somebody would say, okay, can't occur until 2 days in a row. Okay, I'll go on the second day.
About until the physical disconnection will not occur until the next business day that the city hall is open on that day and the day after.
Okay, I'll vote for that one. That's simple enough for me to understand.
Read it
I'm
Yeah.
lost. All of a sudden.
So we're amending it to say if City Hall will be closed the day after the reconnection fee is assessed and the account is placed on the work order list for disconnection, the physical disconnection will not occur until the next business day that City Hall is open on that day and the day after.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so do I have a motion? The provision.
I make the motion that we accept what I said. That was correctly so that some persons of my mentality would understand.
Do I have a second? Councilman Flake makes a motion, Councilman Jim seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Now we will discuss and give direction regarding the type of ballot to be used in May's 2013 election.
I just wanted to get some direction from council as to the type of ballots that we're going to use. The past several years, we have used electronic ballots, the electronic voting machines. Last year, I personally had some citizens express a desire to go back to the paper ballot. The primary reason that I heard was for a paper trail. If you wanted to request a recount, there are physically papers there rather than a hard drive that is already back in Dallas that they, just going to basically plug back in and get results off of. So we will have to seek pre-clearance from the Department of Justice in order to change our ballots, and they'll have to be approved by them. So ultimately, I just wanted to get the council's desire in whether or not we should go ahead and send a request pre-clearance from the Department of Justice, or if we would like to continue with the electronic voting machines. Specifically asking now because I can get a discount on the electronic voting machines if I get the agreement before January 1st.
What's the cost difference, Jennifer?
Huge.
Yeah. The electronic voting machines, I don't have the exact number, but last year I believe it was about 5,000 or a little under 5,000 for the machines alone. The paper ballots, I want to say we in the past have gotten a little over 1,000 paper ballots, and the cost for that, I'm really guessing here, trying to recall, but I think not more than 700 on the paper ballots.
Who counts when you do paper ballots?
The election judge and the election workers.
Can you actually put paper ballots in the machine?
No, not, no. Now, you can, there is that option, but you have to have that would be a little more expensive, having a reader. But if we had a big city and a big turnout, I would recommend having the reader. But for the turnout, the small turnout that we always have for any May election, we count during the day. And I say that because I was the election judge for 16 years. For their thumb. Purple.
So people that count the votes, are they volunteers? Is that possible?
No, they get paid. But they get paid whether they are counting votes or taking you to the machine.
Maybe we can do that structural assessment of City Hall.
I like that.
Is there any more integrity in doing the people who vote ahead of time? Well, I can't think of the call that.
Early voting?
Early voting?
Absentee.
You have to, you have to lock up the ballots or?
Yeah, they go into a separate box and then get counted after 10 o'clock a.m. of the day of election day.
It's a little bit more private if you're not using the electronic voting machines. I don't know if that's kind of what your question was, but we don't typically have a lot of mail ballots, so.
No, I'm just saying, since we've heard stories before about City Hall having visitors at night come in, would they be able to go in and change ballots?
No, because the police has the one key and City Hall has the other key to the lock box, to the ballot box. So, and the police have to bring the key over the day of the election.
They bring that
after,
to the election.
at 10 o'clock. Yeah.
City Hall staff doesn't have access for the ability.
There is a seal, paper seal on the top, and a metal seal. It's double sealed.
So even if City Hall and the police are in groups, they still have to get past that.
Yeah, because that paper would, or I mean, the twisty one, well, that's broken, you can't.
I think they, chief, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah,
Give them money.
I agree, I think.
Was that a motion?
Sure.
Councilman Smith says sure, why not?
I'll second that one.
Councilman Smith makes a motion to use paper ballots. Councilman Chambers seconds. All in favor?
As if we can get the approval
Opposed?
from the Justice Department. No. You're right. Anything in Texas, they're not approving.
Number 19.
Eric Holder.
Do you have any departmental reports?
Mayor, before we start in the departmental reports, we need to recognize our new Public Works Director, Steve White. Steve comes from quite a solid wealth of experience in the streets, water, sewer, and a number of issues we're facing. We're very happy.
Is he started?
Yeah.
His first day was yesterday.
Okay. And he's still there?
He's already got dirt under his fingernails.
Chief Barnes, you have anything?
Nope.
Jennifer?
I guess I will just say that we have accepted applications for the permanent customer service clerk position, and we hope to do interviews this week and have someone just after Christmas. And then City Hall will be closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, which is Monday the 24th and Tuesday the 25th.
Captain Smith? Got everything going how? Tom Bean. That's the same thing. Captain Smith attended Tom Bean's council meeting at 6 o'clock to give the quarterly report on EMS runs in the city of Tom Bean, our average response time.
They were happy with everything, happy with their service.
Thank you, Captain Smith. Steve? Mr. White?
Hit the ground running.
Thank you. Tracy?
Thanks to GCEC and Texas Star Bank, we now have an outdoor drop at the library for our audiovisual materials. So we now have a book drop and an audiovisual drop, and that means all materials borrowed from the library can be returned whether the library is open or not.
Thank you, Public Works, for installing.
Yes, very much.
City manager report.
Mayor and Council went to TCQ last Wednesday down in Alstyne to make sure to field, just see if I could field any questions. I'm not a subject matter expert on the fines and the process that we've gone through, and being under the scrutiny of TCQ for the wastewater treatment plant and our infiltration into the system when we have significant rains. But went down in case they had any questions on what preventative actions and what we're doing to make sure that we're working to be above board and be a model city in that regard. They didn't have any questions. They took everything in bulk and moved forward on it. And what that means for us is we're going to be looking at, as soon as we receive the letter from TCEQ, the fine will be in the form of a hazardous waste and recycling program. have several members of contractors that do that, and we're trying to get that program going, so that way we're, again, trying to conform and comply with what rectify the problems of the past.
City Hall may be closed on Christmas Day, but Buck's Hut Barbecue will be open from 11 to 3 for the 4th annual free Christmas lunch.
Very nice.
Yeah, I would like to say tonight that for those who came forward over the past couple of meetings and gave support to Frank Baker, I appreciate that, of course. I think Frank is a good selection for city manager. I hope we're successful in the contract with him. I think the city manager position is not only a manager of the city affairs as far as business administration. I think they're a voice for the city. I think they need to communicate. They have to be a working member of all the other entities, the chamber, the PDCs, the CDCs, the school. And we have that. We have that with Frank. Everyone has made that aware. And I commend him.
Councilman Blake?
Good.
Councilman Schweber?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that when we were down at over, I guess, Gaylord, Texas, the TML conference, but when we were there, I stopped by the comptroller's booth and found that the city had $2,000 in unclaimed property. So I was pleased to come up with that, and I found $400 of my own, so I was even happier.
And we've already got the check. But Karen did find it and brought it back. So that was what I was going to say in my mind. That Karen did found this.